And welcome back, everybody, to another E.R.A podcast. Today, we are doing a little something different. I'm going to be talking about school life, just some things about school, because I recently went into public school, actually, and it's been interesting. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about the school stuff, and hopefully you guys will stick with me with this because this is kind of interesting. So if you guys have never been to public school before, which I'm sure most of you have, but if you haven't, then you should probably listen to this because here's a little what to expect and what goes on. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into it. And what's going on, everybody? I'm your host of the E.R.A podcast, Joshua, and I run New Era. And so basically, like I said in the intro, we're talking about school life. And so it's not as bad as some may think. In fact, we're going to go ahead and pop up our timer. 15 minutes on the clock. We'll wrap this up in that short amount of time. So basically, it's interesting. It's an interesting school life. When I first got there, so like I said in the intro, I have recently moved into public school. I was homeschooled for, I think, ever since first grade or kindergarten, and so I have been homeschooled for quite some time. And I was not sure when I moved back into public school. I had to move back into public school because of just personal reasons. But when I moved back into public school, or when I was told I had to go back into public school, I was not excited about it. I did not know what to expect about it. Wasn't too sure. And honestly, it was not as bad as I thought it was. I was picturing all these really scary things in my head, as I'm sure a lot of people do when it's their first time. But like in my case, I was, again, haven't gone for years and years and years. So I don't remember anything about it. I was so young then, I don't remember pretty much anything about public school, so I didn't know what to expect. And again, it was kindergarten. I think it was kindergarten, at least. I don't know. I'm sure my mom will correct me on this if she's listening to this. But I was really young. It was a really young age, and so it's a lot different. The school I had was a lot different probably than like a high school, which is what I go to now. And so I'm just... I was so nervous. Like, high school kids, I know high school kids are going to make this, place a nightmare. But honestly, I was wrong in some aspects. So I'm going to be talking about that right now. First off, let's see. When I got in there, it was, nobody honestly really cared too much about anything. So they did not care about doing their work. And they did not seem to care about doing their work. They did not want to do their work, which is the same thing pretty much. They were always on their phones, and I've been a good student. I'm not just saying this. I know I've been a good student. I have not been on my phone, whatnot. I've been doing the work because I want to have a good education and grow up and be able to do something important. Not saying they can't, but if you do this for all of your year, you're going to know zip, nada, zilch, which is not gonna give you a very good start with jobs in life and whatever you want to be. It just depends. So school, nobody really cared. It wasn't like everybody was like all of a sudden just like teasing you and always making fun of you, or at least that's how it was in high school. I've heard a couple things from my middle schools about kids, like teasing other kids. So maybe that's a little different. But high school is not like that. Honestly, yes, there are definitely tons of kids who are not very respectful and whatnot. But it is pretty nice. Or it's not pretty nice. But no, hear me out. It's not like tease, poke and prod. It's not like that at all. It's kind of nice, honestly. Or it's not too bad. But so I just want to say that, yes, there's going to be, cool kids who always do, the cool handshake thingy that they do. You've probably seen it before. And then there's you, but maybe you can fit right in with them. Put on a good impression, but don't try and be somebody you're not, or else. I mean, if people don't like you for who you are, even though you don't show them necessarily, you don't show them it, at all who you really are, if people don't like you for really who you are, and if you're pretty sure that as soon as you start acting all goofy or whatever you are, if you're not the cool person you're putting up to be, then they're not your real friends or buddies. Maybe it makes you feel more comfortable, but if they can't be if you can't be yourself. I put up sometimes some of an act, but around the people I've kind of buddied up with, not really. I kind of be myself, and that's fine with me, honestly. Every once in a while, I'll, put on an act for some stuff, but nothing really too bad, and not like my whole friendship with them is a act. So it's not too bad. Let me see. So probably though, it's what is kind of annoying is I feel like there is ranks, honestly, or not like ranks, but yeah, like two classification groups to the cool kids, or to the kids that are in the school. So yeah, there's cool kids, and then there's kids. So plain old kids, and so cool kids and plain kids, not plain, like just kids. So the cool kids are gonna, like I said before, are gonna be the ones doing the fist bump thingies and awesome things, and like you're always like involved in all the things, and then the kids don't really do that much. Like I was playing, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm not one of the cool kids really. I'm pretty involved in stuff, and like involved with everybody, for the most part, but I wouldn't say I would hang out at lunch with the coolest kids. I hang out with my friends, the friends who have known me for years and are fine with how I act, and so I'll hang out with them, and I'm fine with that. And so I'll talk to some of the cool kids, and they'll talk back to me. But there are definitely those who are just like there's like a group of kids who are not really too interactive or anything with the non-cool kids, I guess. So I was playing the other day in PE handball. If none of you know what that is, it's like a game, where you like pass the ball back, or you have like a football or a dodgeball or something like that, and you're just like throwing. If you look up the rules, but basically we have teams, and I was on the team with some of the cool kids, and honestly, all that were being passed, even when I was like open to receive the ball, all the passes went to the other cool kids to cool kids, and even non-cool kids. Really, even the kids you would think are really not that great or cool, they'll still pass it to the cool kids because they're trying to get in with the cool kids. And I'll do that sometimes too. I'll try doing that, just to see what happens. I mean, it really doesn't matter because they don't pass back after anything. But so yeah, there's like a little classification. I feel like they literally, even when I was open, they'd make it a habit to pass, literally not pass to me. I was on their team. I was open for receiving the ball, and they didn't do anything. So there's that, and nothing much more on that. Closing on that. So it's just kind of weird. I know there's a little bit of a different podcast, guys, if you're wondering. I'm sorry about that. I just thought, I kind of wanted to talk about this. Just thought it was not to let my feelings out or anything. I mean, kind of, but I'm not really sad about it. I just wanted to let you guys know, I guess. I felt like doing an E.R.A podcast, and this is the coolest, best topic I could come up with. So hopefully you guys are sticking with me. But if any of you are thinking of going to public school, this is the gist of it. So again, yeah, there's cool kids, non-cool kids. There's not a lot of, there are the bad kids, some bad kids who, are not, again, very disruptive. They're just kind of in big groups. They're not very, they can sleep in class. Yes, it's a thing. They'll sleep in class. And they'll just sit there, not really care about the work, and somehow they'll get good grades. I don't understand it. Some of them. That's not with all of them, but somehow it seems as though they will do really great on some assignments. Probably because they cheat off of others. Because they'll do that, and they use a new like Snapchat GPT, the Chat GPT. Which is like this AI thing that basically generates answers to anything you ask it. Or you can have like literally normal conversations with it. But I'm sure everybody who's watching this knows what it is. But, just in case. You never know. And so they'll use that to cheat too, because it's become pretty popular recently. I think that's because it released recently. I don't even know. I don't really keep up with that stuff, but regardless, it's pretty popular in school, and people do ask it a lot of things. Like, I'm right there sitting next to a student, and they're like one of the popular kids. So yeah, I wouldn't say cool kids, but like popular kids. But so they're one of the populars, and I'll be sitting next to them, and I'll just overhear them say, I think I'm gonna use the Chat GPT, like to another person, like not me, because I would be like, teacher. I mean, if they told me directly, but I feel weird like overhearing their conversation, and so I'll just hear them, and they'll be like, I think I'm going to use the ChatGPT to generate my essay. And they can just type it in and ask it to write a 5-paragraph essay on global warming or something like that. And boom, they have a 5-paragraph essay on global warming with all the punctuation and whatnot. And it sounds really legit. They can add stuff. It's really a powerful tool. And so it's not really fair. And I don't ever do that. I'm not say anything against me real quick, or I'm not saying anything to benefit me. You're like, oh, I'm better than everybody, but I'm not. I'm just saying I don't ever do that, and I wouldn't imagine doing that, because that's definitely cheating. That is not okay to do. And even though the work is so annoying sometimes, and just like you just want to, I don't know, like put it in the shredder and then be done and say your teacher, oh well. Yeah, you'd get kicked out of the school probably for that. But, and sent to detention. They're really also, in school, at least this is my school, and most of my teachers do not send the classes to detention. Or the class people who are disrupting to detention. They'll just reprimand them. They don't ever send them to detention. There is no principal. If you guys didn't know, maybe you didn't know. Maybe you didn't, I don't know, maybe, or there is a principal. Listen up, there is a principal, but there's all the main people. The principal really never gets called for anything. It's just the deans, someone called the dean, who handles it. There's multiple deans who are there, the one who handled the issues. So nobody really gets sent to the principal's office or dean's office. That's just my school, at least. So I think that's kind of annoying. I would, if it was me as a teacher, I'd be like, Dean, go to the dean, now. Like, all the time, because they'd be so disruptive. I just seen it. So yeah, not very disruptive kids. Some kids will show up really late to class. When the bell rings, you get like 7 minutes to get to your class after the bell rings. And then some kids will show up really late to class, and then the teachers don't really care. I mean, they're not like, they're nice. They're not like, duh, like they don't care. They're nice. They will help you. They care about that. But they don't seem to ever care if someone shows up late. Like, they don't say anything really. They shows up late. They're just like, if we're on a page of something, they're like, page 432, and boom, that's it. So that's like the downside of it. I'm not saying anything against them. I'm just saying how I see it, and just like how I would do things. But yeah, and then some kids, they'll show up, they'll sit there for like 2 seconds, and then they'll leave, and you won't see them for until half the class later, or they'll be there for like half the class, then they'll be getting back right as like the bell's about to ring. So the teachers don't really seem to care too much. Again, like, they're not like, just like, duh, I don't really care. But they just don't seem to really want to reprimand that stuff. I would be sending them to the dean for that. That's not okay. You're here to learn, not to do whatever stuff you're doing outside the classroom. So that's a little downside to it. Honestly, though, other than that, education is okay. It's definitely hard sometimes. My friend said there's like 3-4 hours, or like 2 to 3 hours on hard days of homework. The average is like 1 to 2 hours of homework, and then hard days is like 2 to 3 hours. And so for the past about 5 weeks, I have not been getting any homework. And if I do, it's like something I can complete in like half an hour, if not less. Sometimes like 10 minutes worth of homework, and then boom, I'm done. And so, but recently I've been getting a little bit, so I don't know if they were just like, and it wasn't just because I was like a new student or anything. it was because I saw the other class, they weren't getting homework either. I guess it's just like it's not necessarily what you think it is until you're in more advanced classes. Yeah, I guess it just depends on the advanced classes, because it's not like they don't necessarily assign you homework just to assign you it. They assign you stuff that they didn't get to finish in class. So some of you thought that like they assign you stuff just to assign it to you. They assign you stuff you didn't get to finish in class. Sometimes they'll assign stuff to you to do at home, just special for the house. So that's that really. But other than all of that stuff, I think it's all the downsides to it. I think it's really cool. It's a really cool place. It just gives me a sense of like community. I don't know. Just like I feel pretty cool that I go to public school and I can just say I'm going to public school, and my friends are always there. Or my friend, I have friends. Yeah, friends. Sorry, and they're there, and so it's nice because they're there every day, and so I can finally interact with them every single day. So that's just kind of the gist of public school. It's not a horrible place, really. It's not what you might think. So that's the end of the podcast. Time is up, as you can see in the upper right-hand corner. I thank you so much for watching the E.R.A podcast. It was honestly a pretty fun thing to do, to talk about this, and I hope you guys can hear more about it, or I can talk more about this. Maybe I might do a part 2 if you guys really want me to explain some stuff, because if you guys aren't in public school, let me know what you want me to explain. I could probably tell you all the things you need to worry about or not worry about with public school. Anyways, this is the E.R.A podcast, hosted by New Era, a.k.a. Joshua. Josh, preferably Josh. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you have a wonderful day. Peace.